Respected spiritual brothers and sisters, and rest of the younger brothers, sisters. Indeed, I am very, very happy be here, mixing with large number of people, and particularly younger generation. Sometimes with older people, then sometimes I feel, oh, they go first or me go first. But then younger people, students, I myself also feel that moment, feel younger. So I'm very happy to be here. Then I always mentioned this is generation of 20th century and generation of 21st century. I belong to the generation of 20th century. Now you, most of you, generation of 21st century. Past is past. We can only learn. We cannot change past. Future of humanity or future of the world in our own hand. So now today, look, world, so many problems. Firstly, rich and poor. And then, even the richer sort of countries, a lot of mental problem. Human being, basically, some scientists say, our basic nature is more compassionate. It is quite understandable. We are social animals. Therefore, any social animal, individual's survival or individual's happiness entirely depend on the community. So therefore, as a social animal, from birth, our basic nature is more compassionate. When you look children, young age, that basic human nature, more compassionate, is very much alive there. Play together. They don't care what religious faith, what nationality. The concept, we are same human being. And as soon as we were born, we received tremendous mother's affection, loving kindness. Without that, we can't survive. And then those people received maximum affection from their mother and surrounded friends. Such person whole life, in deep insight, some kind of sense of security. Security. Those children who received less affection, or sometimes mother abandoned, and children who grown up in the atmosphere of lack of affection, then always fear. That whole life remain in deep insight, some kind of sense of insecurity there. So now, basically, we are social animal. Now, today's reality, now for example, the people in Mangaluru here, you see, your future much depends on the rest of India. Then India itself, their future very much related with rest of Asia, and whole Asia's future related with rest of the humanity. So, because of technology and because of population and lifestyle, the whole 7 billion human beings as one human community. That's now reality. If we keep this feeling and implement, then no basis of killing each other, no basis of war. Today, too much sort of emphasis, we and they, and then narrow-minded, short-sighted, so killing each other. Even in some cases, religion also you see used for division and killing. That's today's world. A lot of problem which we, humanity, facing. Much problem. Essentially our own creation. Why? As scientists say, basic human nature is more compassionate. Yet a lot of problem. Our own creation. Why? We, I think, much neglect about basic human value. That's the human compassion, loving kindness. So here I have some sort of critical view. Existing education system, not adequate. Education, so-called modern education, come from West. So it's very much oriented about material value. So children at the young age, so they play together. And then once they join school, then gradually the more serious distinction on the basis of religion or basis of country or color, in this country, caste system. These then, you see, creates strong feeling of we and they. So our education, the key factor for how to develop what kind of human being. So education, very, very important. Now here, as I mentioned earlier, education not only concerned about our brain, but education should include a serious concern about warm-heartedness. In this respect, all major world religious traditions, actually religion of human being. So all religion carry the message of basic human value. That's human compassion, human love. So, all major religious tradition, different philosophy, it is necessary. Different people, different culture, different way of life, and different sort of mental disposition. So different philosophy is necessary. But all carry same message of love, forgiveness, tolerance, contentment. So therefore, I think simply religion of human being. So all religion carry basic human value. That's human compassion. So now, firstly, my commitment, as the lady sort of mentioned, my commitment as a human being, one of the 7 billion human beings, my commitment is try to share with other people. We are social animal. We really need sense of compassion. Irrespective whether believer, non-believer, whether believer this religion, that is secondary. Basic thing is we are social animal. Entire 7 billion human beings are one human community. So we should develop sense of concern of others' well-being on the basis of sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. That's my number one commitment. Number two commitment, religious harmony. All religion, as I mentioned earlier, same potential. Utilize different sort of, method or different philosophy. Now, for example, our Christian brothers, sisters, you believe God, Creator. Oh, wonderful. What kind of Creator? Or infinite love. So entire human being are children of that kind of Father. So if you seriously think that, then killing human being, each other, is actually killing brothers, sisters from one Father. So that's very powerful. And then non-theistic religion, Jainism, one part of Sangha philosophy, and then Jainism and Buddhism, no concept of creator, but rather self-creation. But meantime, every sort of life, experience is very much dependent on our own action that we call karma. If you committed good karma means helping other people, at least restrain harming other. That's good karma. So, in order to achieve happy life, you should restrain harming other. If possible, help, serve other people. So, different philosophy, but same message. So, different philosophy is necessary. Different people, different mental disposition. Even within Buddhism, within different school of thought, all ultimately taught by Buddha, the same person. Why? Among his followers, there are different mental disposition. Therefore, it is necessary to have different philosophical views. So that's just a method, but goal is same, message of love. So all major religious tradition carry same message of love. So therefore, the religious harmony in this country, India, I think over 2,000 years, different religious tradition lived together harmoniously and mutual respect. Occasionally some problem. That's understandable. But basically, I think I always telling people, India is the example. Religious harmony is possible. All major world religious traditions live together in this country. So, see, people knows there are different religious traditions. So naturally, they respect each other. And in some cases, mutual learning. One time in Thailand, when I met Sankaraja, the top supreme leader of Buddhist community there, I told that person, look, Christian brothers, sisters, they are very, very active regarding promotion of education and health. So we Buddhist monks also should be more engagement in the society. Then he mentioned, monk should isolate. That also, you see, it is true. But so you see, we can learn each other. I really admire Christian brothers, sisters. I think the whole world, you Christian brothers, sisters, I think made tremendous sort of service for education. And then health. I noticed in India, some rural area, some Christian nuns carrying some medical work. And monk also, you see, carrying some helping poor people. So that I think we Buddhist monks, nuns, I think should learn from Christian brothers, sisters, sort of, as a practice. And then similarly, as far as sort of philosophy is concerned, I think you Christian brothers, sisters, I think worthwhile to learn from Buddhist philosophy because Buddhist philosophy very much similar that of quantum physics. You see, quantum physics emphasize there is gap, appearances and reality. Much of our destructive emotion are based on appearances. Or such case, deeper understanding the reality, those emotions which are based on appearances lessen. So, quantum physics, some Buddhist philosophy, very similar, quantum physics. So therefore, each different sort of, or say the unique thing that we can learn from each other, like that. So, my number 2 commitment is promotion of religious harmony. So in that respect, I indeed very, very happy come here. You invited me. Thank you very much. Then another my commitment is I notice this country, India, over 1,000 years, the tradition of Ahimsa, non-violence. And recent time, modern time, Mahatma Gandhiji promoted the concept of Ahimsa. So now, I feel 20th century, Mahatma Gandhiji and other, the Indian, the leader of freedom movement, they really show the world non-violence. Now, this country, I feel some great potential to show the world Ahimsa. Ahimsa combined with Karuna. A lot of our problem, mainly due to anger, jealousy. So the antidote of these destructive emotion is Karuna. And in action level, non-violence, Ahimsa. So India, I feel great potential to serve humanity through inner peace. Today's world is a materialistic sort of culture, materialistic life. So very much lacking how to tackle our destructive emotion. In that respect, I think all major religious traditions have, as I mentioned earlier, is the potential to tackle our destructive emotion and use different sort of philosophical views. And then, particularly in this country, over 3,000 years, the practice of shamatha, practice of vipassana, already there. These are methods to transform our mind, our emotion. And then also in this country, there's tradition, secular way. Secular means whether believer or non-believer, doesn't matter. These concept is relevant to human being, not necessarily a believer. So secular way. So these are actually the concept of academic subject, how to keep healthy mind with that healthy body and happy society. So this 1,000-year-old India's tradition, I feel very relevant to today's world. So in order to show the world, firstly, like the Ahimsa, Mahatma Gandhi practiced within the country, and he carried the independence movement with concept of Ahimsa. So eventually, outside world, like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, they totally sort of follow with their belief, non-violence. So now, the India, you see, firstly, within the country, should be these 1,000-year-old tradition should be living thing. Then show the rest of the world. India, the China, I think, most populated nation, number one. Then second, India. China, unfortunately, totalitarian system. But things are changing. India, greatest democratic country. So India have great potential to make significant contribution for world peace. So now these young people, I feel you should think in this line. So younger generation, as I mentioned earlier, they 21st century generation. If we make attempt now, the later part of 21st century can be more peaceful. So now some questions, question and answer, and including some argument. Most welcome. Because I think a selfish reason. I, student of Nalanda tradition, one of the subject is logic. So we learned logical approach. So in order to use logical approach, debate is very important. So most welcome some sort of critical comment, and then we can discuss. Thank you.
Myself, Lobsang Dakpa from Arunachal Pradesh, Tawang. His Holiness, as we know that food chain is very important in our living world. So, but what should we do when we see a bigger animal eat a smaller animal? Should we let him eat or should we save the smaller animal?
Now I think if you believe God, creator, then God creates that. So, like tiger and many animal, their life depend on eating some other animal. So I think if we try tiger become vegetarian, I think impossible. So there's a nature. We have to accept nature. So as I mentioned earlier, like East India, a number of tigers, if we try to stop eating meat, then tiger will disappear. But now in East India, Man area, one occasion, they called Lat Khasa. One mountain, or cellar or something. You see, when I passed, and then other side, when I reach, there are some yaks. Then yak is something unique animal of Tibet. So some very close feeling. Then second thought, this yak also may kill. Then later, I was told, this site of Sela, the whole people never sort of killing animal. So such sort of practice there is wonderful. Then animal is a meat eater, that is beyond our control. And look in Africa, cheat or many other sort of animals. If we try to stop, they will disappear. So we should be practical. Okay.
Your Holiness, I am Father Sebastian, coming from Assam. I liked when you said we belong to a big human community.
Karsa?
Yeah. And I just want to say, religion is also part of humanity. And we know more than the two world wars put together, a higher number of people were killed in the name of God and in the name of religion. And we know we have several religions.
Oh,
Yeah, we have several religions, and now religion is becoming a dividing factor among human beings in this human community. What is your suggestion? What can we do in order to, let us say, come together as human beings, but at the same time keeping up the good precepts recommended by our own religions? Because religion is now becoming, in the name of God, God Himself, who is the Father of us all, who should unite us, is becoming a dividing factor in the minds of human beings. What do you say, Your Holiness?
as I already mentioned, all religion, in spite of different philosophy, all carry the message of love, forgiveness, tolerance. So therefore, all major world traditions have same potential to bring inner peace. Then those people who used name of religion and killing is actually not practitioner, just carry the name of religion. And unfortunately, you see, different religious faith use the concept of we and they. So I think we should, the various different religious traditions, I think should educate believer. The real purpose of religion is harmony on the basis of sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, and loving kindness. Second part, Karoso. So it is true. Now, just next neighbor, Afghanistan, Shia and Sunni, and Syria, and these many Arab countries, in the name of the Shia and Sunni killing each other. In this country, I never heard complaint between Shia and Sunni. And because, as I mentioned earlier, this country, all major world religious traditions live together here. So now I think time change. Those Muslims in India, they already know there are many different religious traditions. Then those Muslims in isolated area, you see, they consider Muslim is the only religion. So then, even within Muslim, Shia and Sunni, these are the circumstances too much isolated. And on top of that, some religious leaders also manipulated that. So things are changing. The more wider contact and more information, like Indian Muslim, then things will change. I feel that. And meantime, it is some worthwhile, make some effort. Recently, I suggested to Ladakhi Muslim, Shia and Sunni, no problem. And also Ladakhi Muslim and Buddhist and Christian, very good relation. So I told the Ladakhi Muslim, they should make effort. It is not sufficient just to keep their tradition, religious harmony. Now should be active to show the rest of the Muslim brothers, sisters, we can develop harmony. So, as my sort of request, my suggestion, the Ladakhi Muslim recently they organized in Delhi. And some Muslim brother from Iran and some different Muslim countries also attended. Like that. So more acquaintance and talk. And then at that meeting, some Muslim brother, they have different interpretation about jihad. Jihad. Like that. So all major religious tradition, if you seriously, sincerely follow, then all religion have same potential, and there is strong basis of harmony, mutual respect. Like that. Thank you. Next question.
All religions have positive tenets towards compassion, and yet it is the misinterpretation of some of these tenets that makes people aggressive. Actually, there are certain categories of people, the minorities, the Dalits, the tribals, who are considered to be soft targets of aggression. And we need to respond to it by assertiveness. Now we think where to draw the line. Not to be aggressive, but to be assertive and create an ambience of harmony and peace.
So I think constant, or dialogue or meeting, that's important. Different religion or different religious people, we should not isolate and remain distant. That's not good. And like this kind of meeting, come together and share each other's sort of views and different sort of the concept. Then no problem. Oh, here, Bishop Tutu, my great respected spiritual brother, we have very unique also the friendship. So one time, whenever we met together, he always described me mischievous Dalai Lama. And I respond, mischievous bishop. So we very close each other. So then one occasion, I think a few days, we serious discussions. Then one occasion he told me, he as a Christian believer, so ready to go to heaven. Dalai Lama go different place. Strictly speaking, I am non-believer. So therefore, according Christian sort of believe God, heaven. Non-believer, go hell. So, on one occasion, I just expressed, that his sort of comment. And then many people, told me they are ready to go to hell with me. No problem.
Good morning to all. I'm Father Sam. His Holiness, what's your opinion about taking away the special status of Jammu Kashmir? Is it a sign that India is moving away from the philosophy of unity in diversity?
Kashmir. Oh, that's very complicated. I think, for me, I think better to remain silent.
Safer to be silent.
I think number of Pakistanis, you see, their own sort of economy or things worse than India. So the border area, they have very good relation with Indian villagers. So daily basis, also they coming and going on like that. And then I think the political sort of demarcation, and then some politicians, you see, manipulate certain things. So quite sometimes I think, as I mentioned earlier, we human beings deliberately create more complications. Like that, that's my feeling.
I have a question for you, Your Holiness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I would like to ask a political question to you with regard to Tibet. Will it be freed from the Chinese stronghold, and will it be a free country in your lifetime? What do you think about it?
The relation between Tibet and Han people, it's 1,000 years. 7th century, Tibetan emperor married with Chinese princess. And I think they much influence about Buddhism from China. One most important sacred Buddha statue come from China, originally from the Buddha Gaya, then to China, and then the Tang dynasty. Their capital is Xingen. That Buddha statue kept in Xingen. Then 7th century, the Tibetan emperor married with Chinese princess. So the Chinese princess brought that statue to Lhasa. Up to now, that Buddha statue we consider most sacred Buddha statue. So you see, very close relations. However, I often used to telling people, the 7th century, the Tibetan emperor, Tibetan king, Songtsen Gampo, is inspired very close link through marriage. He prefer Indian Devanagari rather than Chinese letter. I think he much he find much difficulties to learn Chinese letter. So he copied from Devanagari and alphabet. So he create Tibetan, our own language. So copy one of ancient Indian Devanagari like that. Then 8th century, Tibetan king, he himself, son of one Chinese princess. But then, at that time, very strong influence from Chinese Buddhists. But he prefer Buddhism should bring from Nalanda tradition. Although the Chinese Buddhist tradition also same from Nalanda tradition. Then he decided to invite Shanta Rakshita, great scholar, logician of Nalanda. So he accepted, in spite of his old age. He introduced Buddha Dharma according to Nalanda tradition. So Nalanda tradition, unlike Pali tradition, a lot of sort of emphasis, logical approach. Buddha himself used to express, my teaching should not accept out of faith, out of devotion, but rather thorough investigation and experiment. So some of the Nalanda master rejected some Buddha's own word. If you accept this literally, it goes against reason. So we should consider reason more important than just a belief. So that's Nalanda tradition. So the Shantarakshita, 8th century, 9th century, one top scholar, logician, he invited to Tibet. He introduced Tibetan Buddhism according to Nalanda tradition. So therefore, you see, letter completely different, Chinese letter, Tibetan letter. And then we Tibetan, although China, Tangsen Lama, he also joined Nalanda study. So Buddhism in China, he also they start. So same source, Nalanda. But differences, Chinese Buddhist tradition, not much pay attention for logical study, study of logic. Whereas Tibetan, the Shantarakshita himself, great logician. So we very much emphasis on Buddhist logic. So therefore, the Tibetan Buddhism is much richer than Chinese Buddhism. So nowadays, more and more Chinese, at least around 400 million Chinese follow Buddhism, and particularly they pay much attention about Tibetan Buddhism. So, spiritually, very close link. The political, the authoritarian system, this is some of their sort of way of thinking, quite narrow-minded. And the authoritarian system, no future, will change. So relation between Han people and Tibetan people, 1,000 years. So now today, I think China, People's Republic of China, is the biggest number of Buddhist population. And many of these, as I mentioned earlier, they realize, they consider Tibetan Buddhism is authentic Nalanda tradition, and that Buddhism is a very scientific religion. And then our side, we are not seeking independence. I very much appreciate or admire the spirit of European Union. First World War, Second World War, for example, the Germany and the French, arch enemy. After Second World War, you see, under the leadership of German Adenauer and French de Gaulle, they create European Union. In the past, there's a lot of killing among these different countries. And then they realize common interest is more important than national sovereignty. So they develop European Union. So at least I think the last few decades since European Union start, now no longer killing each other. If European Union not yet developed, then I think last few decades, some killing, I think should take place like that. So we also, historically, separate country, but the big union of China, we are willing to remain there, not separation. It is mutual benefit to millions of Chinese Buddhists. We can help them, we can serve them, and economically they can help us. So, since 74, we decided not seeking independence. That also Pandit Nehru's advice. Pandit Nehru, 1956, and then 59, we also raised Tibetan issue at the UN. Then we request Pandit Nehru, Indian government, if possible, sponsor, if not, support. Then Pandit Nehru, one occasion, told me, America will not go to war with China in order to liberate Tibet. So sooner or later, must talk or negotiate with the Chinese government. No use to raise UN. But Nehru advised me. It's very realistic. Like that. So I think future, already our relation with Chinese top leaders, informal way, we keep constant contact. Like that.
It's an immense pleasure meeting you, meeting His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Today my question is that, is it possible to make the whole world a pure vegetarian? Because every single day, tremendous numbers of animals are being killed by human soldiers. Is it possible to make whole world a pure vegetarian, free from human tortures?
Vegetarian, yeah. Oh, very good. Now, more and more people in Europe, also America, now, many scientists say now eating meat, not very healthy way. So much better vegetarian. So more and more people now showing about vegetarianism. Then I think India, the vegetarian food is very delicious, very good. So still, I think we need some effort to educate. Vegetarian food is very good for our health. Of course, individual physical condition, that's something different. Otherwise, basically, that kind of view is there. Okay.
Just a little background for my father is a Tibetan Buddhist and my mother is a Roman Catholic. So I grew up in both of these traditions that taught compassion. And my question today is very much in relation to compassion, because you speak on compassion in every speech that I've listened on YouTube and everywhere, and I'm a great fan. So as a Buddhist and as a human being, my question is, which is more important or should take priority? Is it compassion or our ability to see the truth or understand or realize the truth in every situation around us as a human being? I would really like to hear your opinion on this, if you would like. Thank you very much.
That's up to individual. The Catholic or Christian or Buddhism, both, emphasize the importance of compassion. And for that, use different philosophical view. And then, whatever you feel more sort of effective, then you follow that. Say not necessary. In order to practice compassion, you should be Buddhist or you should be Christian. That's also the secondary, also the level. Both emphasize the practice of compassion and both have their own way to increasing compassion. So, philosophical field differences are that up to individual. Okay.
Good morning, Your Holiness.
Good morning.
I'm Ankit from St. Teresa School. Your Holiness has explained well about the purpose of religion. My question for today is that what can we as children do to inspire or influence people to make the world better for everyone?
Karsa. I feel existing education not adequate, because existing so-called modern education come from West. In Western tradition, faith, very good, very useful, but no knowledge how to train our mind through meditation. So that part in this country, India, over 2,000 years, the single-pointed meditation or analytical meditation there. These are very useful. So, I think Christian brothers, you also, I think, useful to practice, you see, shamatha and vipassana.
It's great privilege for everyone of us here to have a blessing with presence of His Holiness. My question is like we all are in same world. Christian, they believe they have hell and heaven and hell. We Buddhists also, we believe we have hell and heaven. And Muslim too, they have like heaven and hell. Like after we death, like we will be sharing same heaven and same hell, or like is there any different? That's right. And one more question is like some of my friends, they don't believe to any religious. So will they have like hell and heaven or not?
That's right.
Thank you.
I think question of next life, in a way, important. But more important is in this very life should be more compassionate and, if possible, help other. If not, at least restrain harming. It is much better practice these things than just if you're talking heaven or karsa sukhavadi marve devachen sukhavadi while we pray next life sukhavadi or heaven, but day-to-day life doing something more, or say the mischievous way, no use. Is whether there is next life or not. Of course, now here, according Christian, just one life. According Indian tradition, Buddhism, Sankhyaism, Jainism, we believe Atma. Buddhism do not accept Atma literally, but everybody, you see, accept the being. So that life after life. So therefore, instead of sort of thinking next life, this very life should be meaningful, compassionate way that creates good karma, that brings next life, happy life. Okay.
My question is, in this world, we believe that humanity, compassion, and kindness are the core of living a meaningful life. Yet, most of the time, we end up practicing the opposite of all the aspects I have mentioned earlier. Because in this world, people who lie gets the way, and people who keep themselves first seems to be success. So my question to His Holiness is, how can we make our mind at very much constant to be able to practice compassion, kind and honest in daily basis life? Thank you so much.
Very good question. Now, I think question is, do you feel present condition of humanity is satisfied or not? No. I don't think Europe, America, and Africa, of course, on behalf of, because on top of these sort of nature, sort of difficult, because nature mare, some man's created problem. Beside that, the climate warming. Really now Africa facing some problems. So now those materially more advanced country, I think much lacking peace of mind. So I think many thinkers, many scientists, if you ask the condition, present condition, is really very happy one? No. I think most of the thinker feel something wrong, something lacking. So then, meantime, entire 7 billion human beings become religious person. That also impossible. Already around 1 billion non-believer. But secular way, whether believer or non-believer, we are human beings. We all have good potential. And now education now should pay more attention about these inner value. I feel that. Not talking about next life, heaven or hell or Sugabadi, like that. Okay.